Hello and welcome to this episode of Hospitality Talks. My name is Katy Moses. I'm Managing Director of KAM, and I'm very pleased to say that we have Alison Vasey, who is Product Director from Zonal, here with us today to discuss some of the new research that KAM and Zonal have done on the hospitality customer. Alison, welcome.
Thank you.
Would you like to just give a little bit of an introduction to anyone out there who doesn't know who Zonal are and who you are, although I'd imagine that the majority of the industry would.
Okay, so I'm Alison Vasey. I joined Zonal just about 2 years ago, as I really liked what they were doing in terms of the technology and how it was supporting the guest journey. And prior to that, I spent 8 years in hospitality at Mitchells and Butlers. So I sort of came at it from both sides. Zonal is a provider of, I would say, technology solutions to operators, and is very much at the forefront of joining up the what happens at the till with the digital experience, and it is definitely has a vision for how that can be sort of like enabled into the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fantastic. And we have just recently conducted some research called From Plan to Plate, which talks about influencing the customer journey in a new world post-pandemic. So we've got a few stats that hopefully I'll be able to share today. What I'd really like to talk about is how technology can sort of help the industry to understand their customer more, to create a better experience for their customer. Now, we know that there has been a reduction in footfall over the last year by 90-odd%, I would imagine. We are seeing that there will be some missions that customers use pubs, bars and restaurants for less in the near future, post-pandemic. What can operators do you think, to change that plan of action, to ensure that those missions don't miss out? And those missions that we know are going to miss out are ones like brunch and apparently watching live sports, watching live music. They're the ones that the research Plan to Plate shows. So what do you think operators could be doing to combat this lack of footfall?
I think people have to become much more flexible. So I think it would be fair to say that multi-channel hospitality is here to stay. So delivery to homes and people wanting to order their food ahead and also take advantage of takeaway and order and pay apps. So it's about embracing those and providing their guests with that flexibility to do all that. I think the competitive landscape has changed as well. So I think, there's when restaurants and pub owners are now competing with the settee and also competing with home cooking and also these home delivered packages. So actually, I'm not a great cook, but give me the food and then I can make it at home, are all in the competitive landscape. And so I think, but all of those offer sort of opportunities for hospitality guys to extend their reach, you should say, sort of like beyond the normal establishment, you might say. So how would I say? To summarise, I'd say it is about providing a little bit more flexibility and being flexible, and also embracing digital. I do think it's here for the future.
I absolutely agree. I actually had the Hawksmoor at home roast dinner yesterday. It's one of the best things I've ever eaten. It was fantastic. So we talk about in hospitality how customers have sort of certain pain points and areas that really we could be using tech to smooth over somewhat. And we, the influx of order and pay and that kind of thing. What do you think tech can do to soothe those pay points beyond just ordering on your mobile phone?
I think it's about providing the end-to-end journey, and I think there's nothing worse if you start doing something digitally and then you can't finish it. So, for example, if you start ordering and you go, actually, I've got a gift card, can I pay with a gift card? And it doesn't happen in the app, and actually we're guilty of that. So that's certainly on our roadmap, is to make sure that gift card redemption can happen. But it's sort of, if I've made a booking, how can I then, when I arrive, why aren't you welcoming me because you recognise me? And then actually you're now telling me that I have to put the table number into the app. So it's all of those points where it just goes, ooh, it's not joined up. So certainly at Zonal, we're looking at sort of connected customer journeys and how we can create that sense of, from the point that you decide to go to a pub or a restaurant, you make a booking, you want to do some pre-ordering of your food, then you're welcomed and you sit down, right through to payment and leaving a review. It should all happen in the same place. And I think we were just talking about, actually it shouldn't necessarily be that you have to download an app all the time. Those joined up experiences should be available online just through a normal website, I would argue. So connected customer journeys, I think, is the future.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I think that it's safe to say that pre-booking, mobile ordering, mobile payment, etc., is here to stay. Now, it is for everyone, and obviously, you know, we do have to make sure in hospitality that we are also welcoming people who don't want to interact in that at that level with technology, especially some older people. But of course, the pandemic has shown us that older people are much more technologically advanced now than they were, say 14 months ago. We also, of course, have to understand exactly what we need to have on those apps or on that website. And the research Plan to Plate that we've just conducted, and I've got hot off the press here, tells us that what's on the food menu is top. Reviews from other customers comes second, and then prices. So price is not the number one, which is not a surprise to me, but it will be a surprise to some people. When we talk about reviews, how important do you think they are now post-pandemic? Well, not that we are post-pandemic now, but are they more important now than they were pre-pandemic?
I think reviews are always important, and I think as people now embrace digital hospitality and multi-channel hospitality, then because on retail reviews are so important in terms of, I'm buying this product, what do other people think about it? And if you think about the UK in certainly this year, I don't think the foreign holidays are going to be around or embraced as just because we won't be allowed to travel overseas. So there'll be the great staycation, and people will be going around to different parts of Britain that they've never been before. They're going to want to know where the best places to eat and drink are. So I would urge people just to make sure that there's good chatty reviews about encouraging people to come to your place. So and they should be online, obviously.
And so, you know, you and I had a discussion earlier where we said we think that people will be going, you know, during the staycation, people will be trying new pubs and restaurants that perhaps they haven't before. So reviews obviously will become important. But we also know that people can be staying at home a little bit more. So they're going to be using their sort of local in independent pubs, restaurants, etc. And for those, is a loyalty scheme important, for example, because as part of our Plan to Plate research, we found out that 86% of pub, bar and restaurant customers would be interested in joining a loyalty scheme if one was offered. So where do you stand on loyalty schemes, and what do you think about that?
So we have a loyalty scheme, that's the plug, which we have the capability for customers to embrace it. But my view of loyalty is that what we're trying to achieve is the loyal guest is the aim. And it's trying to create that feeling of a local pub. So actually, when you arrive, you feel welcome, and they know me, they know what I like, what my preferences are. So how, and I think the use of embracing digital is just giving people, our operators, the possibility of actually knowing more about their guests than they could previously. We are harvesting a huge amount of data, or generating a huge amount of data. Every booking, every transaction that's done online just gives a better insight, potentially, if it's used, about the guest. So you can find out where your customers are going, what frequency of visits they have, any personal preferences. If the online menus filter for vegetarian or allergies, you can understand that particular guest has a preference that you might want to refer to in the future. You can understand what they ate, and who they even came with, and who did they come with last week versus this week. So all of this insight is a new challenge, I think, for our operators in terms of how do we make use of this data. And I was just reading just this morning that actually a vast majority of people just aren't using the vast amount of data that exists. And I was reading recently that sort of like 99% of all data that is generated isn't used as part of the marketing experience. So I do think that's something that we need to embrace looking forward, because I think it's about creating an unobtrusive loyalty scheme. I don't think people want wallets and wallets of plastic cards. So how can we make it so that it feels like I'm welcome, that I'm being received, I'm understood, people know me.
Yeah. We're actually looking at, what kind of loyalty scheme do people want? Do they want you to buy, like you do with the coffee shops, buy 9, get your 10th free, or do they want a percentage off, or do they just want to be recognised for who they are? And as you say, if I find out they're vegetarian, can I send them a special offer for a vegetarian meal next time they come in, etc.? Well, there's been a lot of change, obviously, in the industry over the last 14 months. And I'd like to finish on a positive. I always try to finish on a positive with these sessions. How do you think the increased knowledge and user, just being able to use technology is going to affect our industry as a whole?
I think it's about providing choice to the guest, and I think that we know that the youngsters, because I'm old, so I can say that the youngsters just do everything online, and if you look at what sort of 10 to 15-year-olds, they do everything using voice. So it's about actually creating a new channel through voice, and it very quickly comes full circle, because if you are ordering using the voice channel, it's no different from just speaking to a server. But I think the opportunity is that it provides productivity gains for the operators, in terms of it's a digital channel, but it doesn't mean that you've got servers rushing to the table. The order and pay app is providing a better customer experience, because you've got fewer touch points with the servers, but they're of a higher quality, and the customer's in control. So I think it's really exciting, and opens up a whole bunch of opportunities in terms of serving the guests better.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that, one of the phrases I always say is that, tech for tech's sake is pointless. It should,
yes, absolutely.
Technology should add to the customer experience.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's the important thing.
And be unobtrusive. I think, and giving the customer choice. It's not about providing the solution. It's about how do you make it easier for the guest to have a great time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. After all, that's what hospitality is here for.
Yes.
Alison, thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to going through a bit more of this research and getting it out there to the industry.
Great. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.